On July 10th, we are going to have a full moon in the go-getting, ambitious earth sign of Capricorn. This full moon is closing out an old chapter or marking the completion of a karmic soul cycle, and at the same time activating an exciting new innovative beginning that is being jump-started by the global shift of Uranus entering air sign Gemini for the very first time in 84 years, happening just 3 days before this full moon. So in part one of this video, I'm excited to share with you who will most feel this Capricorn full moon. What themes can we expect to be surfacing in our own lives? What are the planetary conversations going on during this full moon, what we call aspects, and how can we move through the energy of everything going on, because this will be a potent full moon? How can we navigate all of the energies with the most ease and grace? And in part two, I will be doing readings for each of the 12 signs based on your rising sign. Listen to your rising sun and moon signs to get a full picture of how this full moon may show up in your life. So I can't wait to dive more fully into this full moon with you. But before I do, I want to welcome you to the channel if you are brand new. I am so glad that you found us. This is a like-minded community. If you resonate with being highly sensitive, empathic, on a spiritual journey, a path of ascension even, you are in the right place. Take a moment right now to tap that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a video. Welcome back to those of you who have subscribed to the channel, to those of you who have been watching the videos. Thank you so much for being part of our tribe. It is always my intention to empower you through Western tropical astrology. And hopefully, as you come away from watching one of my videos, that you feel uplifted or inspired or a little more prepared to take on whatever is ahead of you. I'm Betsy. I am a psychic astrologer, intuitive life coach, and author, and I love supporting you one-on-one through private astrology consultations and coaching sessions. So if you want to know more about my offerings, stay tuned till the end of this video and I will share a little bit more. I also have a free gift for you. I'll tell you how you can get that free gift at the end. And I write about the astrology between videos in my weekly inspirational astrology updates. So if you want to get those updates, go to my website, sign up for free to receive them, and you will get my free gift, instant download, right away. Now, full moons tend to come at a time that we are closing something out, we are completing something. It could feel like a full circle graduation moment. It could feel like a project that is finally done, or a manifestation. Something may be coming to a head or being resolved, or a truth could be illuminated. You could be seeing something that you didn't see before for the very first time. Full moons are what we call oppositions, meaning that the sun and the moon are opposite each other on the zodiac wheel. And because of this, we experience them often through our relationships. And often our emotions are more heightened during a full moon time. This is why we say full moons are a good time to release. They're a good time to let go. They're a good time to have that good cry, because the energy has been building as the moon has been growing from the dark moon, which you can't even see in the sky, to the full moon. It's been growing, getting bigger and bigger, and then it's big and bright in the sky. And that's when the emergency rooms tend to fill up, when people get a little more feisty. Often there are more parties. The energy is emotionally amplified. Now, during this full moon in Capricorn, we're going to have the sun in emotional water sign Cancer that is connected to home, family, roots, the mother, our own mothering, our desire to nurture and be nurtured. Cancer represents our need to feel emotionally secure. Across from the sun in Cancer, we have the moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is associated with our quote-unquote worldly responsibilities, our commitments to people in our more public life, often connected to work, to career. Capricorn is associated with the 10th house of life purpose express, legacy, retirement, semi-retirement, how we want to spend a lot of our days. So often during a full moon in Capricorn, we are balancing our very personal needs for comfort, for quiet, for alone time or family time, time with loved ones. We're balancing this with work or other stuff that we have to get done kinds of commitments. Now, timing-wise, this full moon is a culmination of the new moon that we had in Capricorn back at the very end of December 2024, around New Year's, December 30th, December 31st, depending on your time zone. That was when we had the Capricorn new moon. You could also experience during this full moon a mini culmination of the new moon that we had in Cancer 2 weeks before this full moon on June 25th of 2025. Something you started there may come to fruition, or you may take one more step closer to your goal. Because after all, Capricorn is also associated with goals, the next mountain that we want to climb, the thing that we are doing to create a solid, sustainable foundation underneath us. In Capricorn energy, we are serious about making a plan. We want it to be long-term. We want it to be sustainable. We want it to be something that will support us into the future. And because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is the taskmaster, Saturn is show me your list. What do you have to get done? We want to be productive. We want to be efficient. Because of this, a Capricorn full moon can be a bit sobering or serious in tone. But also there are many faces to Saturn, and Saturn also includes wisdom, the sage, the mentor, the advisor. So it's a good time to get advice from an expert, from someone that you trust, who you feel can help you get further on whatever you are trying to accomplish. And I want to make it clear that Capricorn energy is not just about work. It's not just about career. It's about any goal that for you feels foundational to your happiness. An authority figure could be involved during this full moon. It could be you or another person, someone who is letting you know what the rules are, restrictions. You are trying to enforce perhaps an agreement, or somebody else is. Or you are completing what we would call a karmic lesson, a karmic soul contract. Something is being wrapped up because you've done the work. You've done that soul evolutionary hard work of facing issues that probably weren't easy to navigate. They required you to take the high road, to be persistent, but also to set a boundary or to respect another person's boundary. And you could feel like a boundary is being tested, but to keep working on it and not give up. Now, overall, this is a beautiful full moon, and I'm going to get to the aspects in a moment, but I do want to say that even though there is a lot of planetary support during this full moon, if you find yourself needing to stand your ground or to set a boundary, asking yourself what is most important to me now, what is the most self-respecting action that I can take, those questions might help you to get clarity if you need it. Now, who will most feel this full moon in Capricorn? It is happening at 18 degrees. We all have 18 degrees of Capricorn somewhere in our natal astrology chart. So where that is in your chart, that is the house in which you're going to feel this full moon most personally. And I'm going to share where that will be for you based on your rising sign, based on the whole sign house system. Because the full moon is at 18 degrees of Capricorn, those of you with planets or points between 14 and 24 degrees of Capricorn, or the other cardinal signs of Cancer, Aries, or Libra, you will feel this full moon most intensely. When I do the 12 sign readings, I will let you know which signs are receiving more harmonious aspects. And keep in mind that you are going to feel this full moon on a personal level only to the extent that this full moon is activating one or more planets or points in your natal astrology chart. And this is something that I can illuminate for you in a private astrology consultation. Now, there is only one planetary conversation going on with the full moon itself, and that is Mars, which is the planet of drive and motivation. It's what gets us up and going. Mars wants to take action. Mars is in Virgo, and it's making a lovely trine to this full moon. Trines are the most harmonious aspects. They are like the wind at your back. There isn't anything specific that we have to really take the initiative to do during a trine. It usually just happens in the flow of life. Of course, we do have to feel the energy and move on it, but often it feels like, wow, that was cool. I love that that just happened. Virgo energy is Earth, just like Capricorn. It's sincere, it's service-oriented, it's detail-focused, and it's connected to the sixth house of health on all levels: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, our work, our daily work, our work schedules, relationships with bosses and coworkers, habits and addictions. And big picture, Virgo wants to create order out of chaos. It wants to help us to purify our energy, to detox if there's something we need to detox from, to bring our lives into more harmonious order. So that's one theme that many of us will experience. And if you can declutter something, that would be a beautiful way to work with this full moon energy. Virgo is very much connected to the physical body. So many of us, I believe, are working on our health in some aspect, whether it's our nutrition or how we move our bodies, or if we've been experiencing physical pain, or if we're getting treated for something, or it could be going to counseling. Many of us are working something through and wanting to bring our body, minds, and spirits into greater harmony during this full moon. Now, we always want to look at the planetary ruler of the full moon and what is going on with that planet. Saturn is the ruler of this full moon, and Saturn right now is a big player in our 2025 sky. Saturn is in Aries, it is conjunct Neptune, not exactly, but close enough to really be making an impact in many of our lives. And the Saturn-Neptune meetup is representative of a new dream. Saturn is helping us to make an ideal or a vision or a heart's desire real, to bring it into earthly form. But what is really notable during this time is that Saturn is being activated by Uranus that has newly moved into Gemini just 3 days before this full moon. Uranus represents innovation, change, course corrections if we need them. Uranus is the planet of our awakening. In Gemini, this is new possibilities. This is why I said in the opening, there's an exciting new beginning that is being jump-started by this full moon, while at the same time, something old, an old chapter, an old self, an old soul contract is being completed and ending. When I was preparing for this video, I got the image of Uranus and Gemini showing up at a party, being the new kid on the block, walking into the party, very social, very bubbly. After all, it's Uranus and Gemini loves to connect and engage with new people. And so it feels to me like Uranus is showing up at a party and saying, hey, everybody, it's so nice to meet you. I have some new ideas for you. Have you thought about approaching your heart's desire from this angle? Did you know that there's this new innovation? You don't have to do it that old way anymore. There are workarounds. There are new solutions. And most importantly, Uranus and Gemini is going to help us think differently about our dream or vision, or about ourselves, about our lives. It could feel like a quantum leap in consciousness. It could feel like a breakthrough. It could feel like your life is becoming new again. If you have felt stagnant, if your life has felt stagnant, it could feel like a fresh breeze blowing in and you are walking through a tunnel into a new consciousness. Why do I say this? Because Uranus and Gemini and Saturn and Neptune as well in Aries, Saturn and Neptune Aries, they are sextiling. A sextile from Uranus can feel like a fresh new breeze blowing in. It's new and different. It's delightfully refreshing. Now, could you get some sort of a shock or disruption that Uranus is known for? Possibly, but sextiles are usually more gentle. It really depends on how proactive we are being in our own lives. If we're asking for a breakthrough, if we're noticing that we need some sort of change and we're embracing change, it's much more likely to be an epiphany or something that feels exciting, a new opportunity. It's much more likely to feel like that. If we're really resisting change and we've got our heels dug in and we've been asleep at the wheel, so to speak, then it could be a lot less gentle. The big picture, Uranus wants to free and liberate us, and that is going to be part of this full moon landscape. And it could also be a new person showing up in your life, or a new idea, or a dream that you have at night that wakes you up to thinking about something differently, that energizes you and shows you that maybe, yes, I can have this thing that I thought was a pipe dream, that I thought was not possible for me. Maybe it's more within my reach than I thought if I approach it in this more inventive way, in this way that I hadn't thought about before. Now, I do want to note that just before this full moon, a few days before, Neptune did shift into retrograde motion, and the day after this full moon, Saturn will turn retrograde as well. How does this affect the fact that they're being activated by Uranus? I would say we're in workshop mode. We're processing. The energy is more internal. We may be doing research. We may be making phone calls. We may be revising, revamping our goal, our dream, our vision. But all dreams start from the inside. All of manifestation moves from the inside out. So don't let the fact that Saturn and Neptune are or will be retrograde soon affect the truth that we are still very much thinking, planning, brainstorming, heartstorming, taking some small actions at least, even if they are more planning mode kinds of actions. These energies are still very much in play. Now, it is true that Saturn and Neptune in Aries, representing this new dream that we want to make real, that there has been a square going on between Jupiter in Cancer and the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And that square energy has slowed things down. It's delayed progress for many of us. It has felt like resistance, not necessarily from us, but resistance maybe from others, or just felt like things are not happening as quickly, or you get an idea and you go for it and then you're not getting the support from others that you expected. In other words, it could feel like it's been a damper on trying to make something happen for yourself. And even though Jupiter is moving further away in degree from where Saturn and Neptune are, so that square is lessening in tension, it's still active during this full moon. I believe that Jupiter, because it wants to expand, it wants to uplift, it's a planet that wants to help enlighten us. I believe that it wants us to dream bigger, some of us, to expand our possibilities. And Uranus too. I just spoke about Uranus. Uranus wants us to think outside of the box of our old reality. It really does want us to shift into new energy, a new consciousness. Think about this from a higher standpoint, from a higher vibrational frequency. If you couldn't fail, what would you say yes to? If you didn't have those fears, how would you be looking at your situation? That's the kind of mindset shift that both Jupiter and Uranus are supporting us to make. Now, Saturn and Neptune are not the only planets that are going to be activated by Uranus entering Gemini. Uranus is also making a harmonious trine to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. Both Aquarius and Gemini are air signs, so there is a definite wind at our back with this energy, but it's still transformative because Pluto is a heavy hitter. But with a trine, we're more likely to be transformed through passion, the passion of Pluto, rather than pushed by pain, which are the harder Pluto aspects. Not only this, but Pluto in Aquarius and Venus in Gemini are also trining one another. Pluto trining Venus is a very sweet connection. Venus rules money, beauty, pleasure, comforts, our preferences, the things that make us happy on a day-to-day basis. And with Venus and Gemini, we want to have fun. We want to connect with like-minded friends, soul sisters, soul brothers. This could bring a new romantic connection as well. This could ignite your creativity in a deeply passionate way. If life has felt lackluster, you could feel like you're getting your mojo back. You're getting sparked by this Gemini energy, which helps us to see the signs, the synchronicities, and to bring that magic back into our everyday life. So what is so lovely about this full moon is that these outer planets, Saturn and Neptune and Pluto and Uranus, they are making what we call a minor grand trine. They are harmoniously interacting with one another, supporting all of us on a collective level, and some of us on a personal level as well, if they are interacting with any planets or points in our natal astrology charts. Pluto is making harmonious aspects to Uranus and Gemini, Venus and Gemini, and sextiles to Saturn and Neptune retrograde. So this is a tremendous amount of planetary support by the big power players in the sky. Now, just after the full moon on July 11th, the sun in Cancer will make a trine to the North Node of Destiny in Pisces. So the North Node of Destiny, that is our true north. That's your knowing on a soul level of what you are meant to be doing right now in your life. And the sun in Cancer, again, it's connected to a need to feel rooted, to feel like I belong, I'm happy in my home, I feel nurtured and nourished where I am. So if you put those two together, this transit could make you feel like you are reconnecting with your true home. And that could show up as an actual home. It could show up as a person. It could show up as a job that has your name on it, or a deep knowing of this is the next step that I am meant to take. And a trine to the North Node could feel very fated. It could feel like that's the day that when you look back, I met this person, I got connected with this idea, Cupid shot its arrow. You get the sense of it. So my tips for navigating this full moon energy: don't be surprised if you feel an emotional need to release, to detoxify something, to have a good cry. You could have feelings come up that you have no idea at all what they're connected to. It could just be an old self that is washing away. Some aspect of ourselves or something in our life is completing, is closing out. And it could feel like grief, I want to say, but it could also feel like a wonderful release of energy. So move your energy. We release through movement, sound, and tears. Look up at the stars. Ask the divine, what new adventure, what new horizon, what new vision or dream is opening up for me? Where am I meant to go? Where is spirit assigning me or reassigning me? And if you do feel stuck, you may want to ask, how can I see myself with new eyes? How can I see my life with new eyes? How can I go back to beginner's mind? Because that's this quantum leap energy of Uranus and Gemini that is a signature of this full moon. We are meant to go back to a clean slate. I know nothing. Show me spirit. Show me divine. Show me the truth of who I am. Show me a new aspect of myself that I haven't seen before. And most importantly, be open to all possibilities. If you just now landed on the planet, clean slate, no baggage, no past, what would you say yes to? What would you give yourself permission to do, be, or have? Because it is this new territory, my friend, that this full moon in Capricorn is opening up the doors for us to walk through. Okay, let us do the 12 sign readings now. Listen to your rising sign. Your rising sign will tell you which area of your life is being activated by this full moon. The area of your life that is corresponding to the area of your natal astrology chart where this full moon is happening. And that is based on the whole sign house system, your rising sign. But also I encourage you to listen to your moon sign and your sun sign, because often the themes of your sun or moon sign will come into play as well. And you will also get further intuitive messages as well. So we're going to start with Capricorn because beautiful Capricorn, this is your full moon. This full moon is a culmination of seeds that you planted, seeds of intention, thoughts, dreams, whatever it was for you, whatever you were thinking about, whatever was important to you at the very end of 2024, around New Year's time when we had the new moon in your sign. Now that's coming to some sort of fruition or culmination. So I always think it's fun to look back to that time, and sometimes we forget. If it's not a very clear change that was happening for you at the end of last year, then you may not remember. But I think it's fun. It's a fun exercise anyway. Capricorn, you are going to experience this full moon in the house of you, your identity, your roles, your appearance. These are roles, titles that you have both in your personal life, sister, mother, husband, wife, significant other, lover, friend, but also roles in your work life. So if you are a business owner, or if you are a supervisor, or if you are a customer service representative, it doesn't matter. The idea is that we often experience it within our roles. And also your physical body, your vitality. The moon rules the body. And then when you have a moon in your first house of you, that can really show us if there's anything in our physical vitality that we want to pay attention to. And also your relationships, because the full moon is happening on the axis with the sun on one side and the moon on the other side. It's happening on an axis. It's really two houses. It's your first house and your seventh house. And the seventh house is your committed partnerships, relationships, both in business and in your personal life. And sometimes we experience a seventh house activation with a close friend, somebody that we spend a lot of time with. If you're a caretaker for someone, for example, it could be that person that you're experiencing your full moon, your full moon is playing out in your relationship with that person. So it's any relationship in which we have the other person's back and they have our back. Now, Capricorn, this is a culmination, something closing out, something manifesting for you. Sometimes we, have a wonderful date with somebody on a full moon and the relationship takes off. So that's a manifestation, right? Other times we have a client complete their work with us during a full moon. So you get the idea. It's usually a sense of something ending, something beginning. And what are we doing during this full moon? We're making room for a higher octave, new dream, new chapter, new life. Because Uranus is newly in Gemini, I speak all about that in the first part of this video. But also because Mars is trining this full moon and Mars is in Virgo, that's an energy of attending to anything physical for all of us, regardless of where the moon is happening in your chart. Virgo is physical, or we're signing on a dotted line, or we're checking the fine print of an agreement or a contract. We're really paying attention to details. We're supported to pay attention to details during this full moon, and we're supported to do any kind of detoxing some of you may want to do, because the first house is connected to the body. You might want to do a cleanse. You might want to do, after all, full moons are releasing, letting go. It can be a really good time to release or let go of something, or clean out a closet. Change your wardrobe, maybe, Capricorn, because, this is your appearance is in this house as well. Okay, so Capricorn, I really want to hear from you in the comments if you want to share what is up for you right now. I love hearing from you guys. It's so interesting, and I love that we are creating this like-minded community together. So I've been shuffling, and let us now see what the cards have to say for your full moon. Your card is the Medicine Guardian. Be open to healing information. So this is Archangel Raphael. You can see the emerald green in this card. It could be a heart healing that's going on for you. After all, the 7th house of relationships is across the way from where this full moon is happening, from your first house. So it could be a heart healing, or it could be something else having to do with your health, or having to do with a clearing out. I think we're, emotionally, I think some of us are going back to, in terms of our emotional healing, I think some of us are going back to something that could have happened a long time ago. If you got divorced 20 years ago, you could have a moment of nostalgia, or a moment of going back to that part of yourself that you thought everything had been fully cleared and all of that and healed. And to me, that's a real gift to get. And sometimes this happens at 4 a.m., right? That's not fun. But sometimes we get that call to go back to a situation, a relationship that was over and done a long time ago. But think of it as this: we are clearing out a karmic soul cycle. That's still happening. And I know I've been saying that for a while. It's still happening. We have to think of this more big picture. We have to zoom out. This is a process. It's a process. And none of us really know how it's going to feel until it actually happens. We can take the astrology theory. We can take what we know. We can apply it to our lives. We do all those things. But life is still a mystery. So I really encourage everyone to embrace the mystery and to know that this is a process that sometimes surprises us, but it's all it's all supporting us to release. And I, for one, when I have those moments of going back to something I thought I healed, I'm surprised a lot of times. But then after I have my good cry, or after I breathe through the feelings and process the emotions further, I feel grateful that it came up, because I didn't know that my body was still holding it. So the Medicine Guardian for you, beautiful Capricorn, and maybe this is you. Maybe some of you are stepping into a healing profession, or maybe you are being the healer for someone else during this full moon, so to speak. Of course, we don't heal others. We all heal ourselves, but maybe you are facilitating that in some way for another. So much green in this card, so much emerald green heart chakra support in this card. So if anything I shared resonates for you, the message is be open to healing information. New information coming up. Uranus and Gemini, that's the higher octave of Mercury. So that makes sense as well. Anything you want to share, Capricorn, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Sagittarius, Sagittarius, beautiful Sagittarius, beautiful Sag. You are going to experience this Capricorn full moon in your second house of earned income. This is the house of material security. It is your possessions, it's self-reliance, it is self-worth and self-esteem, self-love, your values, aligning your life with your values. This is the house in which we want to have all of the things that make us feel safe and secure on a very earthly level in our existence. So what does it mean to have a full moon here? Sometimes it means we're getting a raise at work. Sometimes it means we're getting a promotion. Sometimes it means that a job that we're meant to leave or end is finally coming to a close. You could decide that you want to start your own business. You could be really moving and shaking when it comes to income, when it comes to bringing more income in. You could be starting a side gig. Remember, the full moon is on an axis. It's in two houses in a sense, sun and moon opposing each other, and that would be your second and eighth house. And the eighth house is resources from others, shared money. This can be paying off loans and debts. This can also be, partners coming in to help support us financially, or you helping to support your partner financially, or physical or emotional intimacy. So you could feel this in a partnership as well. And this can also be new clients coming in, or a client leaving and then a new client coming in, customers, all of that. You get the idea. These are broad themes for you to apply to your own life. So I believe that some of you are going to be releasing a core wound that may have to do with money, maybe having to do with not feeling abundant or not feeling like you deserve more. Many of us have had umpteen past lives in which we were ridiculed, shunned, burned at the stake. You get the idea, for being our true selves, for expressing our more esoteric spiritual power, for example. And so some of you could be releasing something like that. Or maybe, you're not aware of a past life in which that happened, but you're aware that in this lifetime, maybe you didn't receive the kind of support, or maybe you don't feel like in your job you can really be your true self because you can't, maybe you feel you can't speak about the things that are important to you, like astrology or anything else spiritual. So big picture, this full moon is helping you to shed or clear something or close a door if it doesn't resonate with you anymore, if it doesn't align with your vibrational frequency, if it doesn't fulfill you and bring your heart happiness, and to open a new door, new possibilities, new potential for income perhaps. And I do believe that some of you probably are starting a new business or something that is very much aligned with you and will bring you more meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. So Sag, let me pull a card for you now. So we can see what the cards have to say for Sagittarius. Sag. Your card is, the Hunter. Track down your fears and desires. Well, first of all, Sag, here's the bow. You know how Sag is related to the bow and setting a target and aiming for the target? And this is saying, be the tracker of your own fears and desires. Get into it. Go deep with it. Let your warrior self move. What do we say? Lean into it. Lean into the fear. Lean into the desire. Lean into the passion. That's why I am a huge fan of tapping, EFT tapping, because we can get a sense of what the fear is and we can tap through it and we can release it and let it go. And also in my coaching with people one-on-one, I have other modalities and tools and processes that I take you through to help you release fears. But you can see this warrior is not afraid to look at what needs to be cleared and moved so that they can pull that arrow, that bow back and shoot that arrow toward their desire and watch it come into reality. Beautiful Sag, leave me a comment if this resonates for you. I would love to hear. Scorpio. Hello, beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio, you are going to experience the Capricorn full moon in your third house. The third house is the house of mindset, communication. It is the house of moving and shaking, I like to say, because usually when we have a lunation, whether it's a new or a full moon in the third house, there's a lot going on. We're busy. We have tasks that we're attending to. Maybe we're taking short trips. Maybe we are getting our car fixed. Maybe we are, having coffee dates. Maybe we are networking with people locally. It's that kind of a transit. Also, during a full moon here, and this is a full moon where we are closing out a karmic soul cycle or some chapter or there's definitely a sense of this full moon, as I talk about in the first part of this video, that we are leaving behind an old vibration and we are stepping into a new, what feels like a new horizon with Uranus and Gemini now. And I love that. So you could be talking to a sister, aunt, uncle, cousin, landlord, neighbor, mortgage broker during this full moon. Those are third house relationships. You could be doing something to do with freelance work. You could be working on a website. You could be doing something to do with writing a blog, putting together a course, studying something. This is happening on the axis of your third and your ninth house, and the ninth house says expand, move into new horizons, learn something new, release a belief, let go of something that's been limiting you. Say no to anything that feels oppressive to you. If that means you have to walk away from a religion or a philosophy or a guru or anything else that you know is not in alignment with you anymore, that's the ninth house. So, big picture, this full moon is closing something out. Some of you may sell a car during this full moon. Some of you may, get a new device, release a phone and get a new whatever. Like that's the kind of, those things fall in this house as well. It is the house of moving and shaking and the technology that we can hold in our hands and the things that help us to communicate with others. Could be a new mindset. It could be letting go of a story. This full moon really does want us to see ourselves with new eyes, Scorpio. And Scorpio, you are getting a sextile from this full moon to your energy. Sextiles are opportunities, they are solutions, they are workarounds, they are you seeing a need for something or an issue that needs resolution, taking action, and it being positively taken care of, you getting your needs met. So that's really beautiful. So let's pull a card for you and see what the card has to say. And remember, this is a door closing or something ending, something culminating, and a new beginning, both. Both are happening with Uranus moving newly into Gemini and all of the planetary support that I speak about in part 1 of this video. Very, very uplifting, I feel. So if you haven't watched that, I encourage you to go watch it. Okay, Scorpio. Scorpio. Your card is, Scorpio, the High Priest. Intend and create. This card is saying you have all the power to create what you most want. Be very intentional. Be very focused. Scorpio, you are one of the signs that has such a superpower to be able to focus. You really are known for your ability to manifest. And because it's the High Priest, it's you manifesting from the, it's the crown chakra, you knowing what your higher self wants to create, your soul. And then not allowing anything else into your periphery, not allowing any other noise, distraction, naysayers, anything else. Just clear focus. This is where I'm intending. This is what's happening. This is how I'm making this real. Scorpio, if you want to claim that you are intending and creating, you're making it real, let us know in the comments below. Libra. Hello, beautiful Libra. Libra, you are going to experience this full moon in your 4th house of home, family, childhood conditioning, ancestral healing. It is the most personal point in our chart. And it's also where we can get triggered based on challenges with parental figures or with others that were significant during our formative years. It's also connected to the mother line, this fourth house, and where we want to feel nurtured and comforted, where we sourced our sense of security at a very, when we were in the womb even. And then, when we were in our very early days where we sourced our sense of security. So this full moon for you could bring up your actual home. It's a completion, it's a manifestation. So that means anything to do with your home could be coming to fruition for you, or you could be moving into a new home. You could be thinking about that during this full moon. You could be healing, you could be doing that shadow work, working with your inner child. You could be talking with your mom in spirit or in life. You could be moving through something in your own motherhood. This full moon makes a square to your energy, which means that it brings about some tension or pressure that makes you take action. And it's through that action that you relieve that tension or pressure and that you get results. And so squares are very motivating, and that's the positive about getting a square from a lunation. So Libra, this could also bring up career for you because the full moon is on the axis of the 4th and 10th house, and the 10th house is career. And if you don't have career, it could be retirement. And if you're not retired or able to retire, it could be your life purpose and how you want to express that. As Mary Oliver puts it so beautifully, how you want to spend your one wild and precious life. That could be up for you too. Or a legacy that you want to leave, or just what's most important to you now and how do you want to prioritize that. So Libra, let me pull a card for you now and see what the cards have to say for the Capricorn full moon. And your card is, the Mirror Guardian. Take time to reflect. She is reflecting at the stars. She is looking at the galaxies. This full moon, because Uranus is in Gemini and it is activating Saturn and Neptune and Pluto is having a conversation with Venus in Gemini and Uranus in Gemini. There's so much going on during this full moon with the outer planets. You could really feel a sense of galactic passion is the word that's coming to me, but like just the fact that you are in a certain consciousness and that maybe you're en route to a new consciousness, or maybe you have a sense of enlightenment during this full moon, Libra. I mean, after all, as you're getting a lot of if you have any planets or points in the very early degrees, like 0 to 2, 3, even 0 to 5, you're being activated right now by Saturn and Neptune. I have separate videos for you on Saturn and Neptune in Aries, opposite you on the zodiac wheel. You're also being activated by Pluto if you have planets or points in the early degrees of your sign, and you will be by Uranus and Gemini as well. So that's a lot going on for those of you with very early degree Libra placements. But you get the idea of this card. It's saying, look in the mirror of your own soul, not just the mirror to see your image, but in the galaxy, the soul of you that lives within the galaxy, the idea that we are stardust, right? Was it Joni Mitchell? We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. Beautiful Libra, if anything that I have shared with you resonates, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Virgo. Hello, beautiful Virgo. Virgo, you are going to experience the full moon in Capricorn, which makes a lovely trine to your energy, the wind at your back, filling your sails, feeling like you are fully taken care of and supported. It's happening in your 5th house, my favorite house of the zodiac. Your 5th house of children, creativity, full unbridled creative expression. This is also the house of true love and romance. So for all full moons, we look at endings, completions, culminations, something manifesting. Because you're getting a trine, this should be a lovely full moon for you in which you feel supported by the planets, that you are having something lovely, if nothing else, just a lovely time with children or a lovely time with a lover, perhaps a wonderful date with somebody, or if you are online dating, this is actually a great full moon to do online dating, to meet somebody through technology in some way. It is also a lovely full moon for your own creative expression. However, any kind of art making, any kind of crafting, any kind of just like listening to music, being inspired by a movie, anything that is going to raise your vibration during this time. I love to dance. I love to sing. What do you love to do? Anything, what raises your vibration, Virgo? This is a time to do it. You are with Mars in your sign right now. You've got Mars in your first house right now. What does this mean? It means that Mars is really supporting you to advocate for yourself, to have your own back, to, it raises our level of courage, generally speaking, when Mars is in our own sign, especially if it's actually, when it activates your rising sign, or if you have any other planets in Virgo. So that's going on at the same time that this full moon is in your fifth house. And so that's going to make you most likely more assertive. And with Mars in your first house, you could be doing a lot of things having to do with your things that you have to get done. This is a Saturn ruled full moon. So make sure that you're making time for the wonderful experiences that you can have in the fifth house. And something wonderful could be happening for a child of yours if you have children, or if you work with children, or if you have a lover. We put the non-committed partnership relationships that are, romantic in the fifth house. But any of those things could be part of your full moon experience. And you could feel quite inspired because where the sun is in the 11th house, that's the house of friendships and the house of supporters, social media platforms. If you do have a social media platform, this is a great full moon to put time into that as well. You might see that take off. You might see that supported by people that are close to you, or you may be introduced to new people, make new connections around this full moon time. Okay, so Virgo, let me pull a card for you. Let us see what the cards want to add to your reading. Guardian angel, you are not alone. I love this so much. If you see feathers falling from the sky, if you see money on the ground, if you see or sense your angels talking to you, if you wake up in the middle of the night in your dreams, this is obviously very much your loved ones on the other side are very much wanting to get your attention right now. And to remember that you do not have to do this earthly life alone, beautiful Virgo. There's an eye here, and there is a sun and a moon. So here's the full moon, the sun opposite the moon. And here's the eye, the third eye. It could be your third eye. You could be getting a third eye activation, or this could be you are being watched over during this full moon. How cool is that? If you want to claim that you are not doing this alone, that you have a guardian angel watching over you, helping you, supporting you, let us know in the comments below. Leo. Hello, beautiful Leo. Leo, you are going to experience the full moon in Capricorn in your sixth house of optimal health, daily everything. The sixth house is our schedules, our habits. It can be addictions. It can be things that we want to change. It's our exercise routines, how we eat, our daily work, coworkers, supervisors, all of that, our lifestyle even. And it's our health on all levels, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. So the full moon is always a closing out, a culmination, a new beginning. As you close one door and a new door opens, a manifestation, something coming to fruition. It can be any of those things. And because the moon is in your sixth house and the sun is in your 12th house, it's happening on the sixth and 12th house axis. And that is an axis in which we receive spiritual protection. So that's wonderful to keep in mind. And also keeping in mind that the universe has your back in tweaking, fine-tuning, changing anything, releasing, letting go, anything that isn't good for you in your life right now. Some of you may say goodbye to a job. Some of you may let go of a toxic work environment. Some of you may have a conversation with somebody at work that could help you to have a better work environment. Others of you could just declutter your office. You could declutter your computer. This is a full moon in which we are meant to close out a karmic soul cycle, some of us, where we are meant to walk away from something, or we are just releasing emotions that have come bubbling up to the surface from past relationships or past situations. So it will be different for all of you, but you get the themes that are here going on for you. And some of you could feel quite awakened during this full moon because we do have Uranus newly entering Gemini right now. And the sun is going to be in your 12th house of spiritual awakening. So let us see what the cards have to say for you. And we will go from there. Beautiful Leo. Leo. The High Priestess. We got the High Priest a little while ago, and now the High Priestess coming out. This is going to be a very spiritual full moon, and it says, harness your mystic power. What I love about this is that the sun will be in your 12th house opposing the moon, and the 12th house is the house of the mystic. So how cool is this? Just like the High Priest, if you saw that card in that reading, this card, that was for Sagittarius. This card is saying, and you're both fire signs, this card is saying, focus your intention. Do you see how her arm is straight out? She has her magical implement. It is over this cat. The cat is helping her. She is focused. She is clear. She knows what she wants, and she is harnessing her spiritual power to bring it into reality. If you want to, dear Leo, read about how you can talk to the divine. If you want to increase your powers of co-creation, of divine mystical, prowess, check out my book, The Magic of Saying Yes, because I teach you how to write to spirit and receive messages back from spirit. And I also have lots of other exercises in my book for co-creating the reality that you want. In any case, I want you to know that here's that cat energy for you. You are divinely guided, divinely protected, and you are very much being supported during this full moon to focus and intend what your heart most wants. As we close one door and a new door opens, supported by Uranus and Gemini, a higher octave of consciousness, a whole new life, a whole new world for some of you. If anything I shared resonates, let us know in the comments below. Cancer. Hello, beautiful Cancer. What I love about this full moon for you is that it's happening in your 7th house of partnerships, which means that you could experience a relationship in your life, because partnerships in the 7th house are committed relationships. Committed as in you have an agreement with that person. You have their back, they have your back. This can also include clients, can also include anyone in your life that is a regular sort of player in your life right now that you're doing things with. Maybe you're collaborating with someone. Maybe you are, supporting one another in some way. Sometimes the 7th house relationships, they come and go. They're not always significant others and spouses. But during this full moon, you could really feel that a soul cycle in which you had certain relationship patterns or a dynamic is ending, clearing, that you're really starting fresh, Cancer. And by the way, I have my moon and my rising in Cancer. So you could feel that. You could feel that. I'll give you an example. Just the other night, I was woken up in the middle of the night, and I was directed by spirit to go back to, and I talk about this in my book actually, to go back to this place that I used to go when my marriage was ending. I used to go to this tree. This was a cemetery actually, and this twin tree in the cemetery near the statue of Jesus. And I would sit by the twin tree and I would cry. It was very grounding for me. I'd put my spine up against the tree. I'd feel the energy of the tree infusing me and all of that. And so what I found really interesting about it was that spirit was saying, give that part of you compassion and love for what you went through back then. That was a long time ago. That was like, I don't even know how many years ago now. And yet I was being called to put my arms around that version of myself, that time, and have compassion for what she was going through. That was like an earthquake happening in my life. That was like a seismic you know, blowout. It was huge because we were together for 22 years. That was a huge foundational aspect of my life that was crumbling. And here we have a full moon in Capricorn, and this just happened in like 2 nights ago. So we're in the energy right now. I always feel full moons often significantly before they actually happen. And I have Capricorn in my 7th house, just like you do. So I feel that this full moon, that's one example to let you know that you could be assigned by the divine to go back to something. You could have a memory, you could have emotions come up during this full moon that are taking you back to a time that still has another layer of healing for you to do. Self-love, self-compassion, forgiveness, maybe for some of you. Or a new relationship could come into your life during this full moon, or you could deepen your current partnership during this full moon. You could let go of an argument that you've been having with someone for some time. You could realize, why am I still making this person wrong for this? Why am I still bothered by this? I'm going to let it go. You know, a lot of different things could happen, but I do believe that there is a very karmic element to this full moon that I discuss in part 1 of this video. So a door closing, a new door opening, new people coming into our lives, people leaving. There's a revolving door I'm seeing in my mind's eye right now. Okay, it's a very supportive full moon in so many ways. I go into all the aspects in part 1. I really encourage you to watch that, Cancer. You are one of the ones most affected by this full moon, for sure, because it's happening in your 7th house across from the house of you. So let us see what the cards have to say. And some of you could be healing something right now in your physical body as well. And when you have a full moon in your 7th house, it can affect, you could be really working on a new dream. In your 10th house of career, the Saturn, Neptune energy in Aries, you could be working on something in your home. You might want a new home. That could be activated as well during this full moon. Okay. Cancer. And then you have Uranus in your 12th house on top of all of this, which is so exciting because that is spiritual awakening that is a spiritual awakening kind of transit. Okay, here we go. Cancer, your card is the snake. Shed a skin. Yes. Yes. It's a beautiful shedding. It's a releasing. It's a letting go. Cancer, sometimes we find ourselves crying for no reason. We don't even know what's shedding. We don't even know what's leaving. It's an old self, not old as in age, but like a former self, a former way of being that we don't need anymore as we are advancing to this new level of, it's a new frequency. It's a new sense of freedom, liberation. That's Uranus. So here you go. And maybe heart healing with the green. So if anything that I shared resonates with you, beautiful Cancer, and this could be a Kundalini awakening too. With Uranus in your 12th house transiting, you could definitely have a Kundalini awakening. Very, very exciting. Let me know in the comments below. Gemini. Hello, beautiful Gemini. Gemini, I have my natal sun in Gemini, and those of you who are Gemini risings will have this full moon in Capricorn in your 8th house of power and control. The 8th house is the house of our emotional attachments. It is the house of shared resources, time, money, and energy that we share with others. It is connected to things like inheritances, loans, debts, taxes, emotional and sexual intimacy, real estate, all the things that really can, trigger us emotionally. And they're wonderful things. Like a lot of them are, I wouldn't say that debts are wonderful things necessarily, but I would say, buying a home can be wonderful. And, having a deep bond with another person in which you are sharing intimacy can be fabulous. Like there are so many things in this house that are wonderful, but it's the 8th house for a reason, the house of death, of rebirth and transformation for a reason, because these are the things that do touch us at a very deep, deep level. So this is where you're having a full moon culmination, fruition, manifestation, ending, completion. Some of you could be separating assets during this time. Some of you could be paying off debts. You could be selling or buying a home. You could be newly sharing resources with somebody that's maybe moved into, maybe you're moving in together and you're combining accounts, for example. Or you are navigating maybe an issue of power and control with somebody. Maybe you have a dynamic in which you feel like one person gives more than the other and you want to rectify that dynamic. So a lot of ways that this could play out. But Gemini, Uranus is moving into your sign and it's very exciting. I'm very excited with the stellium in Gemini. I'm very excited. So, I have 2 videos for you on Uranus and Gemini. I encourage you to watch one or both of those if you want, but also just keep in mind that with Uranus moving into your sign just a few days before this full moon, if you have planets or points in the early degrees of your sign, very early, like 0 to 3, maybe some of you will feel it 5, 6 degrees too, possibly, you are going to feel this full moon probably more intensely as well. So gems, let us pull a card and see what the cards have to say. I do believe that, Uranus and I don't want to talk too much about Uranus and Gemini because it's a full separate transit, but keep in mind that during this full moon, as I speak about in part 1 of this video, it's being very much activated with Saturn, Neptune, Pluto during this full moon. So the extent to which you feel this full moon will depend on all the planets and points in your chart and what's being activated by the full moon itself in Capricorn. So Gemini, let's see for you. Gems. What does your heart desire, Gemini? This is a full moon to really be aware of that and to release what is no longer in your vibrational field, what's no longer in alignment with you. Your card is the Wise One. Grow within your current situation. You may feel a bit stifled during this time. You may feel like the doors haven't been opening for you as you wanted them to. You may feel that, for example, because the Neptune-Saturn pair are being squared by Jupiter, that has been a bit of a downer for a lot of people. Delays, doors not opening in the ways that they wanted to, things not flowing like you want them to flow. I think that's pretty much a universal experience right now, or at least for a lot of people. But this is saying we can work within our current situation and get a lot back from that. We can get a lot of value from that, including and especially wisdom. And here you see the wise sage with the owl. I saw the owl on a hike the other day in the forest in this neighborhood where I'm living right now. I saw an owl in the trees. It was so amazing. Oh my gosh. If you are not connected to me, Gem, like on my Instagram or Facebook, I often post little things like that. And I often do little walks like right after I finish this video, I'm going to take a little walk in the forest. So anyway, it's just fun. But claim the wise one within you if you'd like. Claim the fact that there is sage wisdom within you that is coming through this full moon to you. Write it down. If you keep a full moon journal or a lunation journal, which I highly recommend an astrology journal. And it's really perfect for Geminis because Geminis are the writers, right? The communicators. We really get a lot out of writing things down. You may want to keep an astrology journal if you don't already. And write down what happens during the moons, especially for you. A lot of wisdom. This card is saying is going to come to you during this full moon. Beautiful Gem. If you relate to anything that I shared and you want to leave me a comment and let me know, I would love to hear. Taurus. Hello, beautiful Taurus. Taurus, you are going to experience this full moon in Capricorn, which trines your energy. That's very harmonious. Wind at your back, smooth sailing, quite supportive. You're going to experience this in your 9th house of expansion, Taurus. Expansion. Higher learning, new adventures, new horizons. This is the house that one of the houses in which spirit infuses you with excitement, upliftment, enlightenment, even at times. Beautiful Taurus, a full moon in your 9th house could be solidifying a plan, especially in Capricorn, be solidifying a plan for you to take a course. Maybe you're graduating from a degree program. Maybe you are leaving a place that you've been living that's a foreign country for you. Maybe you are making a plan to travel long distance or move to another country. Maybe you are publishing something. This is the house of teaching. This is the house of publishing a book or authoring, anything. Also the house of broadcasting and podcasting. So This is a full moon that big picture is supporting you to expand spiritually, to expand your knowledge, to expand your ability to share your heart, your enthusiasm, your sage wisdom with other people in whichever modality or format you want to do that. You could also feel like you're on a spiritual seeking in that kind of phase of your life, or on a quest. Um, Keep in mind that the full moon's happening on the 3rd and 9th house axis. It's in your 9th house, but the sun is in the 3rd house. And that is your everyday kind of moving and shaking. So it could be triggering events in your local environment as well. Networking, meetups, starting websites, getting some freelance work going, that kind of thing. Or a relationship with a sibling, aunt, uncle, cousin, neighbor, landlord, mortgage broker. You get the idea. Taurus, what do you want to manifest during this full moon? Full moons can be manifestations. They can be something ending and leaving and someone walking away, a client leaving, or you leaving something. In a certain sense, this axis of the 3rd and 9th house, it's place driven, right? Foreign places and local places, but it's also tied to growth and learning and knowledge. So this can manifest in a lot of different ways. And it can also come down to, vehicles and devices and buying or selling cars, that kind of thing. So it can be the most, dream big kind of energy, the 9th house, down to, okay, I'm going to sell my bed because I want a better mattress. I mean, seriously, like both of those things could be going on. Okay, so Taurus, I'm going to pull a card for you now. We're going to see what the cards have to say. And I also want to say that because this is full moon is something wrapping up that was foundational to you, or something coming to fruition that will be foundational to you, you are very possibly meeting up with somebody that feels like a karmic or fated kind of meeting. Okay, Taurus. Or maybe you're hiring someone, or maybe someone's hiring you. Maybe you're collaborating with someone and it turns out to be a relationship that feels fated, destined. You get the idea. Your card is, I love this card in this deck, the She-Wolf. Unleash the wild within. It is time to howl at the full moon. Oh, I love this card so much, Taurus. This is saying, loosen up, let a new soul essence come out, come through you. Express the truth of who you are. Do not be afraid to let an old self die by doing that howling, by doing the dancing, by doing the primal emotional release during a full moon, by claiming your inner wolf. Your inner wolf, the wolf is the teacher, and this is the axis of teaching and learning. By claiming your wolf self as your totem, perhaps, by embodying the inner teacher, by embodying the wild self within. The freedom in that is immense. And Uranus going to Gemini wants to help us free ourselves. Immense freedom and liberation. If you want to claim the wild within, the she-wolf or the he-wolf, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear, beautiful Taurus. Aries. Hello, beautiful Aries. Aries, you are going to experience the full moon in Capricorn in your 10th house of career, legacy, life purpose expressed, the house of retirement and semi-retirement, the house in which we have the most public recognition, or we desire to be appreciated for what we do, or where we want to feel meaning and fulfillment, and that we are really doing the thing that makes us feel, the thing that we're passionate about. Aries, you need to be passionate. You are passionate. You need to feel that your passion is given a voice, that what you do is feeding your passion. You need to feel like what you're doing is fulfilling you in some way, is what I'm trying to say. So with a full moon in Capricorn, which is tied to Saturnian timing, Saturn is the lord of timing, and it's connected to karmic endings, this full moon as well, ending a soul cycle for some of you. You could feel that you are at a turning point. After all, we also have Saturn and Neptune in your sign, and they are turning retrograde, and they are being activated by Uranus and Gemini, and Pluto has also been activating them. There's so many energies. Venus and Gemini will activate your energy too during this full moon. There is, this is assuming that you have planets or points around the degrees of the planets that I'm mentioning. So keep that in mind. I can't tell without looking at your astrology chart, of course. But in the big picture, this full moon is on your 4th and 10th house axis, which is illuminating what you do for work, or what you do for your days if you're retired or you don't have to work or you don't want to work. It could be your own business, of course, too. That you're balancing that with home and family commitments, caring for your own inner child as well during this full moon. So either of those areas could come up for you strongly. So, and because you're getting a square from this full moon to your energy, Aries, a square is tension, pressure, something that you have to take action on. So your action is going to be different for all of you, but some of you could be starting a new business. Some of you could be leaving a job. Some of you could be dreaming about, making money through your passion. Others of you could be more focused on your home, moving, more focused on a family member, caretaking for someone, all of those kinds of things. Okay, so let's pull a card for you, Aries. Your card is the Earth Guardian. Stay rooted and grounded. And you know what? The 4th house is our rooting and our grounding. And the sun will be in the 4th house, opposite your 10th house. So this is very pertinent for you. Aries, it's easy for you to burn out. That's Aries energy. You can run on adrenaline. You can, the beauty of that is you can get really inspired and really elevated and activated, but you can also work harder than you have the energy for. Aries people need to know that they're not superhuman, that they are in bodies, that they can, that there are limited resources that need to be replenished. Not that you're limited, Aries, you're unlimited, but you do need to replenish your energy. So this full moon is a reminder to replenish. And I love this emerald green jewel on this angel's third eye. Maybe there's going to be a third eye activation for some of you during this full moon. Maybe with Uranus and Gemini, you're going to get some sort of awakening, Kundalini awakening, or third eye awakening, or crown chakra. But with all the green, this is the heart as well. This is taking care of your heart. He or she has their hand on their heart. Take care of your heart. Aries, trust your heart, trust what your heart knows, but also value your heart enough to only say yes to the things that your heart wants to say yes to. Your heart is the voice of your soul, and your soul knows your truth. Pisces, hello, beautiful Pisces. Pisces, you will experience this full moon in Capricorn, which makes a lovely sextile to your energy. And sextiles are opportunities, solutions, things coming to, they're blessings. They're wonderful things happening oftentimes, or something being solved or resolved. Pisces, you will experience this full moon in your 11th house. The 11th house is a lovely house of fulfillment, big picture, hopes, wishes, dreams, long-term financial gains. The 11th house says, what do you want? The world is your oyster. If you could choose anything, what would you choose? It's where we receive support, where we have our allies, we have our social media platforms here, whether you are talking with a friend, or you are putting something out on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, or other. There are many other social media platforms, but it's also the house of friendships. So with a sextile from this full moon, you could have a new friend come into your life. You could be culminating a friendship. You could be starting a new social media platform. You could be pulling in your long-term gains, financial gains. You could be selling stocks for a profit. You could be feeling very fulfilled, or asking yourself, what do I want for support? And you could find yourself also, people knocking on your door saying, do you want to collaborate with me? Do you want to, can I interview you? Those kinds of things fall into the 11th house as well. Also online dating, a good full moon for online dating. You could meet somebody during this full moon for sure. Or, you know, sometimes people do find friends through apps as well, right? It's not always romantic. Sometimes it's friendship. So Pisces, let us see what the cards have to say for you. Beautiful Pisces. And keep in mind that Uranus and Gemini is activating many of the energies that are also going on, Saturn and Neptune and Pluto during this full moon. Also Venus is in Gemini. So watch part 1 of this video if you haven't already and you're interested in the deeper dive, because it's a very, very active galactic full moon. Okay, Pisces. Your card is Mother Earth. Feel loved and comforted. Many of you are pregnant with a new idea, a new possibility. Many of you are going to experience the lusciousness of this full moon, the peace. This is a very sweet message to spend time in nature, to allow Mother Earth to support you, to bring that Mother Earth energy up through the soles of your feet, all the way up through your body, and let every cell of your body receive the nurturing of Mother Earth. A great ritual to do during this full moon. And to just remember that some of you may grow your own food. If you don't already, you might want to grow something. Just remember that not only are we supported by the divine, but we are fully supported by the earth, and we can put our roots as deep and far and wide as we choose to, and receive that support that often the Piscean energies in our chart don't feel, right? That feeling of I'm swimming out in the ocean all by myself, that can be a Piscean feeling. And sometimes with our Pisces energies, I have a lot of Pisces in my chart too. A lot of that Pisces energy sometimes feels like, oh my gosh, I'm all alone. This card is saying, no, you're not. Tap into Mother Earth's unlimited supply and know that she is fully supporting you, beautiful Pisces. If you want to claim Mother Earth's support or anything else, let us know in the comments below. Aquarius, 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 you are going to experience the Capricorn full moon, a closing out of a karmic soul cycle, a chapter ending, a new solid foundation that we are bringing into reality, and something to support us. That's happening this full moon in your 12th house. The 12th house of the mystic, the unseen realms. The 12th house is our subconscious mind. Sometimes during a full moon, we release an old story or an inner narrative that comes from the subconscious, that's part of our subconscious programming. We release that, we reprogram our subconscious. Or you could have intense dreams. You could get a message from your dreams during this full moon. You could have a moment of lucid dreaming or astral travel. You are also going to experience some part of this moon, will most likely in the 6th house area. I say this because it's happening on the axis of your 12th and your 6th house, the moon in your 12th, the sun in your 6th. So that could bring up themes for you of wellness on all levels: health, physical, mental, emotional, any habits that you have, if there's an addiction that you want to release, if you want to stop eating a food, if you want to do a certain kind of exercise that you haven't been doing or change that up. Also your daily work. You might be asking, what kind of lifestyle do you want to have now going forward? A truth could come to light for you with a 12th house full moon. You could have your sleep, sorry to say, disrupted during this full moon, only because 12th house full moons they can run really deep and they can really activate us. So you might need extra sleep around this full moon time. But also you could get some wonderful messages, Aquarius, from the divine. I mean, after all, you're getting a lot of activation right now. Pluto in your sign, Pluto harmonizing with Uranus in Gemini during this full moon, with Venus in Gemini, with Saturn and Neptune as well. It's a lot of planetary conversations, activations going on, Aquarius. You may want to rest during this full moon. You may want to just be alone, retreat. Full moons in the 12th house are oftentimes when we just need to replenish our energy. So let me see what the cards have to say for you. Beautiful Aquarius. give yourself the time in nature or the time to replenish that you need, because that is a 12th house full moon very often. Okay, Aquarius. Your card is Eagle. See from a higher perspective. Yes, as soon as I saw this card, I imagined you doing a meditation and flying, being the eagle, shape-shifting into the form of an eagle and flying above your life, getting that higher perspective. That is one way that you could do this full moon. I have several meditations for you on my YouTube channel. I have a meditation playlist, 3 meditations, I believe, and then I also have one that you can download from my website when you sign up for my free inspirational astrology updates each week. So meditation, a guided meditation, is a great thing to do during a full moon in the 12th house, especially if you want to do some sort of shape shifting like this. Be the eagle, be the, shape shift into that part of you that can see everything going on from a higher perspective. If there's any sort of conflict, it could be an inner conflict. It could be something going on at work. It could be something going on in your, subconscious mind. Sometimes the mind is a bad neighborhood, right, Aquarius? Like, it can really kick some stuff up. But if that's happening, of course, it's for you to process the emotions around and release, and to see the truth from a higher perspective. So if you want to claim that you are the eagle, that you are seeing from a higher perspective, let us know in the comments below. I think that will be super nurturing for you during this full moon. My beautiful friend, thank you so much for joining me for the Capricorn full moon. I'm so happy that you are here, that you're part of this community. Thank you so much for supporting this channel, for giving this video a thumbs up, for liking this video, for commenting. I love reading your comments. I love connecting with you. For subscribing. When you subscribe, you ignite the algorithm that then shares this video with more people who love astrology, and this is how you can truly support the channel. Thank you as well for those of you who donate to the channel. I am grateful beyond words. You always make my day. It means more to me than you know. If you would like to do an astrology consultation with me, it is my joy to meet you on Zoom. Go to my website, check out the testimonials that other clients have shared after working with me. You have lots of options to choose from: a heart's desire, a life purpose, a natal chart reading, relationship harmony, or a 90-minute astrology consultation. If you would like to do a deeper dive with me on something or some things that are really up for you in your life right now, it is my absolute joy to support you. I love meeting you on Zoom. And we could also do a clarity coaching session if you would like coaching support. So everything you need to know is on my website. The links are in the description box below. And I have a free gift for you. And that free gift is a soothing guided meditation that is going to connect you to your spiritual guides, that is going to bring you a gift from the divine. If you want to receive that, go to my website, download your free guided meditation when you subscribe for free to my weekly inspirational astrology updates, and you'll get that instant download at the same time. My beautiful friend, let me know what you think about this full moon. What are you feeling in the energies? I would love to hear. And until my next video, I am sending you all my love.